What is your most cherished memory?
Most cherished memory as a parent when my daughter was born, my firstborn. That was something that made me realize that it's time to step up. It's time to step up, Murph. It's time to step up. With my mom having me at 16 and pops really wasn't, around. And now I have my own, child to be there and be that example. I knew it was time to not only step up, but something that I knew this is worth me living for.
Right.
That'll be the most thing, the first thing that I can honestly say that that I definitely cherish.
That's really nice because some people are just like, oh, this house, this car is something that they really work for. But knowing that this child is totally dependent on you is a life changing thing. So
Hmm.
that's really cool that you saw it that way to say, all right, okay, time for play is over. I need to actually step
Yes.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, that would be it for sure.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space Podcast. I'm your host, Leah. And this week we are joined by DMurph. Welcome to the show. Some of you have probably already been introduced to him because I guest spotted on his show last year and had an amazing conversation. And if you haven't listened to that, I will absolutely link it in the show notes. But he is joining us for this Survivor series. And whether you are surviving a hospital visit or even this whole pandemic, whether you're surviving, manipulative relationships or getting out of that job that you thought would just carry you on, or whatever it is that you are surviving, we want to make sure that we big ups what your situation is and how strong you are, growing that shiny new backbone so you could actually step up and be the best version of yourself. So, Murph, if you don't mind, please tell the people a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm gonna tell the people first off that Leah World, I know you know how dope she is. That episode she was talking about came back in November of 2020 on the Flagrant 2 with DMurph podcast. Know your value. Know your value. I'm not gonna tell it all. Check it out yourself. We'll go from there. But like she said, I am DMurph. I'm glad to be here on this platform. Have a couple of platforms. Speaking of, first one that she guest appeared on the Flagrant 2, which is an open forum where guests can tell their truth with no restrictions, no judgments. Just don't cuss me out though. That's the only thing I ask. Other than that, I got you. And then being a former athlete, Why Not Sports is my other platform where I talk about the good, bad, and the ugly of sports and how it impacts your everyday life. And right now, I'm on quest to 500 total episodes. Yeah, you're right. Thank you, thank you. So thank you
Yes,
again for being a
yes.
part of that road to 500 as well.
Yeah, and welcome back. Everybody needs a break every now and then. I'm glad that you were able to take your break and that you came back because that's the more important part.
Yes,
Get your break,
yeah,
but come back.
yes. I
That's-
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
so
Uh,
this conversation, I feel like I'm sorry, were you about to say something?
Go ahead.
Okay. So this conversation I am interested in having because there are so many different aspects that we're shown, especially through media, whether it's on movies and TVs, and especially with social media, everybody wants to give you the quick and dirty of this is how it is. But I really want to hear your story of what it was like being born to a teenage mother, not having, that biological father figure there, and like for you to be as successful as you are. Like if y'all don't know, look them up. But how
Appreciate that.
like being as successful as you are, as welcoming as you are, as warm as you are, how did those things in your early life impact you to where you are today?
First, I just, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That's the first thing I can honestly say. With my mom having me at 16, seeing the sacrifices that she's made, the dedication also she made to not only raise myself, because I was the firstborn, and then my sister came around, or was born 3 years later. She worked multiple jobs. She made sure she kept food on the table, and the things we have or had, we we took advantage of it and we cherished it. And because I was very energetic and lively, she said, "We need to do something with you, boy." I don't know what it is. Hey, go just go with your cousins, go with your uncles, run around, go outside, play, do something. And Spalding or Wilson, obviously, is the name of the basketball. And I fell in love with with the game, and just growing up, like I said, with her doing what she could do, dropping out of high school to make sure my well-being was on point. It's just something, even to this day, I never forget. And then I'll bring up my father, but I can go over anybody's house, no matter of the class, upper, middle, lower. I'm gonna still show you the utmost respect, because they say majority of us as Americans are one paycheck away from being homeless.
Yes.
And I just remember those humble beginnings. I will sleep on your floor. If you give me something, as long as it's clean to eat, I will definitely at least still take a bite, especially if it smells good. You know what I mean? Uh, and I learn from everybody, even if you're not to the society worth speaking to. Everyone has a story. Everyone can let you know what not to do to not be
Hmm.
in a position. So that's just a little bit. Then with my father, not being around. And like the question you asked, my firstborn, I was 24 when Ava was born. And, my kids and my family is really number one. And me taking that break. This is a side clip. So world, February of 2021, around that time, me and Leah, we should have done this. However, Mother Nature, whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to go in too deep. We had the freeze in Houston, Texas, to where 4 or 5 days of below temperatures
Mm-hmm.
for Houston, no electricity, no water, like survival mode, survivor. Like it was one of those moments that, again, I'm thanking, God for my upbringings, because what we did have, we knew to take full advantage of it. One was
Right.
family. It
Right.
takes a village to raise a child. We gathered around during those few days, gathered around, put that, water in that. We had gas. We have a gas oven.
Oh,
On
okay.
So we'll put the water in, because they'll let us know if, I'm not gonna go in detail, but the times when we knew it was coming, the water would be running. We would take advantage, fill up the pot, and let the uh, put it on the stove and give us some type of moisture and or heat, and use the chargers inside the car for the phones,
Mm-hmm.
tablets and things like that. Just survival mode, and just kind of being in each other's presence, generating heat, and just, I won't say friendly conversations, but just being around each other. Yeah, it was one of those things like, oh, it's cold, and then the kids. But anyway, just knowing that family is important, and being the head of my household and the
Mm-hmm.
father, to beautiful children. I just knew what it took, and the outcome of knowing that we are here to see another day. Even though I could complain, I know they're looking at me, they're watching me, and my example will in turn affect them in the future, similar to my mom. She really didn't cuss much of life. She cussed at me because I was, kind of hard headed and a little loose, around the edge, said, Murph, well, not Murph, Derrick, make sure you're home before the street lights on. I was a 80s, 90s baby, so we can be out. We didn't have social media, and walking to school by myself. It's real hard headed, and but just knowing how I grew up and the love that I did have coming along, this journey has helped me out to be, a family man. Content creation. I mean, That's a kind of whole another story. I'll talk about that shortly. But overall, that's what allowed me to be the family man that I am, and making sure my priorities are straight when it comes to things that I do. Now, once my family is taken care of to the best of my ability,
Hmm.
that's when the hobbies kick in. That's when the fun kick in. I don't play sports no more like I once did, and then that's when I have time, like what we're doing now. Get me behind the mic. You don't know what you're gonna get, but it's gonna be something that's authentic and potentially can inspire. Depending on where you are in your life.
No, that's what we hope to do. That our authenticity would help inspire someone to at least honor their authenticity, even if they can't express it the way they want to express it, but they honor like what their true feelings are. And hopefully that'll help them in the expression of it. But what I want to kind of go back to is this idea that we have in society now that there are perpetually broken people and people in your situation, being born to a single teenage mother, always get like the short end of the stick, being told that you're going to be a negative statistic. there's
Mhm.
no there's no glory for you. You will never make any kind of status for yourself other than being another handout person. So
Mhm.
how was that journey? Did you always see yourself as a family man? I'll ask you that first, and then I'll ask you the other question.
Yes, even before I knew how to make babies, I just love people. I just love people. I talk a lot clearly, up to 500 episodes, Murph. Yes. I've always been the outspoken person. Just moments of just me and my mom now as an adult, like raising each other and just watching each other grow. But
Mm,
yeah, I always kind of knew. When my sister came along, I love family gatherings, and I love my last name, Murph. So I wanted to make sure there were Murphs, little Murphs, running around, whether it's a boy or a girl or a little girl. I just knew that I want to continue to keep the lineage going by having my own, offspring. But
mm.
I always had a sense of people, and I love listening to my grandparents. May they rest in peace, from both sides, and except for my grandfather. But overall, just talking to them, listening and listening and listening, a knowledge of wealth, um, that when I get mature, responsible, I want to be able to do the same thing or something similar to the things that they gave me. I won't say I took it for granted. Now that I am older and been through some life experiences, I'm realizing that mentorship, information, and just being an example can help people, because it's a lot of people in need, for sure.
As you saw yourself as a family man, your did you because you said that it takes a village. You agree that it takes a village to raise a child. Your grandparents had what did they have a huge role in raising you as well?
The rule: listen to that little boy. He liked to talk. Both of my grandmothers, both, bless their heart. May they continue to look over me and just be there for me. I would talk to them both. Just talk, 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 talk. But listen too, though. How
Hmm.
was dad? How was mom? How was our grandfather? Just kind of soaking it up like a sponge. This is way before I, really took, the game of basketball serious. And just that genuine love that even to this day, it's like, wow, they're gone. So what are you going to do to start that tradition? So those are
Mm.
things that I play in my head, to where I think I said this on a few episodes ago on my podcast, but my baby boy, like when he talk, yes, sir. Okay, sure. It's just like it puts me in a different lens of how I believe my grandmothers, especially, seen me when I was talking. So it's like, wow, that's
Right.
crazy. They must have seen something in me that I didn't see until the light bulb went off. It's like, oh, I really have a way with people. So yeah, their impact, and just being comfortable talking to women and older women. I don't have an issue. You know what I mean? Taught me how to
Hmm.
respect, taught me how to, not be a jerk and all those other things to where when I was coming along, they thought I was older. Even right now, they think I'm in my, no disrespect to those who are in their upper 40s, but it's how I carry myself because of who I was around.
Right,
We
right,
in church for
right.
3-4 hours on them Sundays, especially on my father's side. My grandma, again,
Oh,
loved
why
me.
is
She did
church so long?
it's so long.
Hmm.
Grandma Murphy.
We
Go
still
outside.
praying? Oh, no, don't
You
start the organ again. Oh,
come
somebody get
on.
the fast. I can't.
You said that announcement 2 hours ago. I listened the first time. You see what I'm saying, Leah? So teaching me patience. And I think that helped me even with my brand. Like if you consider looking it up, like the guests that I've had on both platforms, especially the Flagrant 2, it's been more women of all ethnicities.
Hmm.
So it's something that I want to, definitely give a shout out to my, grandmothers in particular for showing me and teaching me, me being comfortable with talking to women without being disrespectful or trying to want something in return.
I think that's a line that is kind of murky now, and people are not really understanding how to communicate. And I don't know if it's social media, I don't know if it's the pandemic, or I don't know if people just lost their doggone mind.
Right.
But I feel like sometimes people, especially when we try to communicate across the male to female communication or female to male communication, there's always some kind of competition. It's very combative sometimes, and it's like, well, I'm the alpha. Well, I'm the alpha. Well, you're only this, and it's like, if y'all, we're just figuring out what ice cream flavors we're going to order from Baskin Robbins. That's it. It's unnecessary. Why are we doing this?
Right.
I don't understand why it's gotten so combative, but I do appreciate that there were, because like you said, I appreciate that there were women in your life, your grandmothers, that would listen to you, because as a child, it's very hard to recognize what you have, especially when you're not standing in the mirror all day. You're looking at what everyone else has, and you're looking at what everyone else is doing and how great they're doing. And then sometimes you can look at that in comparison and say, well, I don't have as much as they have, or I'm not doing what they're doing, or maybe my skills are this, but I don't know how to use that in this environment. But having those elders in the community, in the village, it's an amazing asset that I think we all, not just you, we all at some point have taken for granted. And now that we're getting older, we're seeing like, oh man, not just where, oh, now we're the drunk aunties and uncles at the barbecue. It's like, no, we're about to be the elders in the family. Like they're gonna start coming to us for questions.
Right.
We
Yeah.
we better have something to say, and not just being petty, not just being argumentative, or talking out of hurt or whatever the case. But in order for them to come to us, we have to have those relationships. So it's awesome that even when you were young, you were taught the importance of relationships, not just in your village, but in your community, where you're not just, well, I'm an island to myself and I'm a man and I have this and I do this. Because I think sometimes people can get wrapped up in that. You know what I mean? Where they assume some kind of entitlement, and it ruins relationships time and time and time again. But I'm really glad to see that, like, that's how, because I see you as a very warm, welcoming person. And even when I believe I was introduced to you through Jay from Divorced AF, and I was just, oh, you're doing this, oh, okay, and just start chatting with you on Instagram, and it was cool. And then even doing your episode, it was cool. Like your podcast is such a reflection of who you are and what you actually bring to
Sure.
the table. So I can appreciate the people who have sewn into you to be where you are today.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the Texas freeze of what happened last year.
Gotcha.
Um, During that time, it was it was probably the most recent time I think we all can say, oh, something's happening in Texas. And I know my family was in Texas. I actually left the week before it happened. So I was there during the first snow when it was like, oh, it's snowing. And then and then I left. And then after I got home, I heard that it froze over and no power.
Mm-hmm.
That is an instance, absolutely, as the village coming together looking to a leader. Who was your mentor? Who did you look up to as a guide to be the man of the house, to be the leader of the pack, to make sure that regardless of what's going on, you're going to get stuff done?
My father, Murphy Senior. Murphy Senior. Love you, pops. Love you, pops. Growing up without him was different.
Mm,
Uh, I didn't have no male role model example. Now I did have when my mom was married at this time during high school. I had a great male role model. It only lasted for a few years, and we still talk to this day.
mhm,
I still was missing something that I felt was more internal, more DNA ish.
mm,
I need my father. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't even know if this is even gonna work. I need somebody that knows me. Whether he knows me or not, I still need somebody that know me via DNA, family tree, ancestry.
right.
And just the fact that he's been very supportive. We've had very uncomfortable conversations, especially when I reached out to him and told him he had a granddaughter, which was my firstborn. Um, and one of the things he said is, "Oh, you wanted to reach out," and I was like, "Well, why wouldn't I?" And he was based on his, surroundings or his circle. It
Mm,
was like your kids forgot about you, or they will forget about you because there were decades to where you wasn't active or involved in their growth as or into being. And I was like, no, bro, I need this. You know what I mean? And this was back in 2010, 2011. So over 10 years strong. This helped me through finding myself. Just knowing that he's a praying man, knowing that he understands my intellect. Like, again, shout out to my grandmothers. Now, again, rest their soul. Now he's that man that now is helping me get over that hump to where, like, my grand
mm,
foundation, him now is helping me get over that hump. So for me, I'm just putting it all together, and this is who the welcoming person that you see today, but from more of a male dominant perspective,
mhm.
because I do have kids, and the head of my household, and have the natural hair and the deep voice, and just carry himself in a certain way to where a lot of people get intimidated by someone in my stature, especially in the corporate world.
True.
I
Yeah.
still work. I still go. Yeah, that's another show. Like I sent you that DM. I'm like, man, they want me to do stuff, but then they don't want me to do stuff. It's like, well, Murph, we need you to do this. You have a way with people. You have a way of, having them buy in and give us the results. But at the same time, don't give us no rebuttal. Don't challenge us.
Mm. You can't have it
Yeah,
both ways. You can't have it both ways.
thank you. So, having my father to mentor me and someone I can vent to, throw different things out there,
Hmm.
it's just helping me to, navigate and pass similar things along to my kids or other people, whether it's someone in the family, friends, peers of the podcast community, or whoever. It's just I believe in paying it forward now because I know where it has gotten me, and excited to see what's next. So yeah, shout out to my father for watching me grow, not judging me. I don't have this thing called life, in the palm of my hands. It's still things that I have to get better with. Patience. Shout out to my youngest. Remember, I told you about my mother, how I was she's like, you need to slow down and get tired. I'm ready to go to bed. I got to work in the morning. But, Mom, let's go play basketball. Let's go play catch. My youngest is like that.
Yeah, we're just gonna copy and paste. Yeah, you're gonna have a little you.
Oh, my goodness. Like, yeah. So, Mom, I love you. Thank you for being patient with me. And I don't do that melatonin and all that stuff. She ain't do none of that either. So I'm gonna thug it out. And I gotta get up in the morning just like she did. And guess what? I came out pretty damn good. So yeah, shout out to my mother for being that example and letting me be me and knowing that it was just who I am.
So you reconnected with your dad 10 years ago. And in that time of reconnect, like, were you nervous to reconnect with him? Or was it just a natural thing of like, hey, I'm entering this new chapter in my life. I really want you to be a part of it.
I was, I won't say I was nervous. I just didn't know what direction it would go.
Mm,
Once I have my mind made up, it's like either it's going to be to my benefit or I can still check it off to say, this is what I did.
yeah.
This is what I did. Um, just reaching out to him it was a game changer. And when I was going through a transitional period in my life, I just had to, I won't say make my wrongs to be right, but also I wanted to let my father know, even through those years, I still love you. And
Mm,
whatever comes from this conversation or whatever the relationship that could be, I just want to tell you that you do have a beautiful granddaughter that's continuing the Murphy name. And if you got time, man, let's connect and let's chop it up. But I just wanted to let you know. And also, I'll be in town. That was around the same time my grandmother on my mother's side had passed. So I was like, yo, while I'm in town, hey, what up? Let's connect.
yeah.
I'm a man. I'm an adult. I'm not gonna say hi, dad. Like, hey, I'm a man too, bro. So that on the flip side, though, I had that mentality. Like, I don't care what type of man you are. I'm still gonna talk to you because I didn't have a man, really, guiding me. So I
Mm.
have this assertive spirit to where it's like, okay, but if you come to me with respect, I will definitely, do the same. But again, if you hear the episodes on Why Not Sports, how Love You Pops, part 1 through 3. This is Pops. What up? I have a normal conversation, but it's a mutual love and respect where he's like, that's my son. I'm his dad. That's just who my son is, and we accept it for this verse. And again, I thank God for allowing him to allow me to really be myself, to where we can continue this journey as father and son, and to be the foundation of the Murphy legacy.
What advice would you give to other guys who could be in your same situation? Who are like, I'm not really sure if I want to reach out and get my hopes up about it, or whatever the case. Like, I don't know what all could be going through their mind, but there are a lot of especially men who probably, and women who probably have had that absenteeism and want to reach out.
My spiritual side kicks in, especially the older I get. It makes sense to my grandparents. It makes sense. I thought
Yeah.
y'all was just like, why y'all keep saying keep praying and go, your prayer closet and all this, read the Bible. One of the best consistent phrases, advice that they continue to give me, I would say the same. But in my particular case, I'm trying to look it up right now. The Bible verse where it say, honor, thy mother and thy father,
Hmm.
where your days would be. I'm
That's
paraphrasing it. Where your
Exodus 20.
one
Exodus.
Exodus 21 through 21.
Yeah, so the Ten Commandments are Exodus. I know it's Exodus 20, but that particular
12.
one is 12.
12. I
Okay.
believe so. I believe so. If I'm not, blame Google. But
There's so many different versions out now. I
yeah,
have to stop looking it up. I have my own Bible, like physical one, that I have to pull up to use, that my dad gave me. Shout out to my dad, that my dad gave me, because like looking it up on Google, I'm like, what version? This is not the version we read in church.
I'm looking right now. It's at least 20, but I'm gonna do the
Yeah.
new international version, NIV. Honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you.
Yeah.
Basically, honor that mother, that father, where your days will be long and prosperous. Just reach out to them. Tell us you love them. Y'all don't have to be, tight. If you do what I say, I promise you, you're gonna be fine. You and yours gonna be fine. And making my wrongs to right. Like, I'm, you know what, mom, I love you, mom. I know what you've been through, the sacrifices. We good. That other man, that Murphy Senior, hey, I ain't spoke to him. I ain't think I needed that man. Oh, I need him now. Pops. Hey
Mm.
man, just want you to know I'm gonna make the first move. Reach out, let you know you have a beautiful granddaughter. Would love to have a relationship with you because I need you. You still my father based on the Bible verse. My spirituality kicked in. I'm just, in that mode and I want to see where it takes me. But I do believe in my experience that as long as you make the attempt, as long as you try, that's it. Just that small, let's say that small seed
Yeah.
can move mountains, can do some things. And I said, hey, whether it happened or not, Lord, Elohim, Yahweh, hey, I'm going there. I'm gonna just put it out there. And whatever comes from it, okay. So when I did that, it actually worked out to I believe the benefit to where I was praying and hoping for. Because now, again, with these grandkids, the Murphys, for me, whew, okay, let's go. Granddaddy got y'all some ice cream and he got some money for y'all. Go over there. Oh, you gonna take them to the mall too, Pops? Hey, my dude, I got an hour and a half or 2 hours to kick back. Whew. But anyway, so yeah, I would say just stay prayed up to that brother out there, or even that sister who not sure, but and especially for us as men, we need each other. Society, when it comes to a black man, trying to demasculine us, if that's even a word, not give us the credit we deserve on what we do because
Listen.
we are powerful once we lock arms and come together. We are based on our history, based on the ancestors that fought hard to provide for their wife and their kids. We need each other. So just knowing that, even if it don't work, at least you know you gave your best, you made the attempt. Leave the rest for the man up above. And as the old saying go, let go. You did your part, and let God do the rest. Don't lose faith. Keep grinding. Keep
Amen.
the faith. That's the
Yes.
closing of Why Not Sports. Hey, keep grinding, keep the faith. That's since day one. And that was in 2016 when I started podcasting. My ending and my closing is keep grinding, keep the faith. And that'll be the biggest thing I would say.
There's a couple things in there, and let me tell you, the emasculation of black men, policing of black bodies, period, could be its own series because good grief.
Come
I
on.
have never seen so much infighting happening in our community.
Yeah.
And it could be just because I'm older now and I'm noticing more, but good Lord, I'm like, y'all. But the ones who actually lock arms to come together and we
Yeah.
do great things, shout out to y'all. Y'all really making it work. But one thing that I heard you say is that your need for that relationship was greater than your fear of the rejection of it. So regardless of what his reaction was, you were just, look, whatever it's going to be, I know what I need, I know what I need to do, and I'm going to do all I can, and the rest is in your court. But what I know is that some people get lost or stuck in the it didn't meet my expectations, and then they become distressed and they become overwhelmed with, well, it didn't go exactly how I thought. They weren't as excited to hear from me as they should have been, or the reach out wasn't immediate, without realizing your dad could have been in a very different situation where he's probably in his mind thinking, that man don't want nothing to do with me. Like he don't care. I'm not even a thought in his mind. And on the other hand, you're like, no, like I that may have been, but I know now I really do want a relationship. whatever that could look like that would benefit the both of us. So I feel like sometimes people are battling in that fear of rejection, or that fear that the situation will not match the expectations that they have, that they just stop doing it, or that they don't do it. And that's not just, rebuilding relationships, or um, creating villages or whatever. That's in business, that's in romantic relationships, that's in moving, that's in traveling, that's in a lot of places. People end up disappointed because of their unrealistic or unspoken expectations.
Mhm. Mhm. One of the biggest things I want to add to that, like, I'm sure the listeners that's listening, how many times have we prayed for something that didn't go our way?
How long you got? Because I got a list.
I'm
I
raising
got
my
a
hand
list.
right now, world to Leah. If it's in his will for you, he gonna make sure it's in his will. What's best for you is gonna be for you. So if that
Absolutely.
relationship with your father, your mother, your spouse, your children, if it's not what it should be, don't force it. Don't force it.
I
And
agree.
the older I get, especially in 2022, I'm not forcing too much of nothing no more. I have too much going on. If we
Me too.
cool, like Leah, I'm got you. Like, I hell or high water, I'm going to sit down and take time to connect with you. I promise you. So again, thank you for following up. Like I said, job last minute. Murph, can you go out of town? Can you do this? Can you do that? I'm like, I got to be back by a certain time. Now I'll meet you halfway. That's another story. Negotiating and having that confidence. But
Mm-hmm.
times have we, man, Lord, I hope I get this job, or Lord, I hope this person the one for me. And he like, you didn't even go through the process. Like,
Right.
it's not for you. Like, it sound good. Oh, Murph got a relationship with his father, or this person got this dope potential spouse, or this job is the one for you. But your passion and the many blessings that you have is over here.
Yeah.
But no, it's in front of me. I got to take what's in front of me. Okay. I'm just based on my experience. I'm gonna backtrack, but I'm gonna go back to what you were saying. Like, why not
Okay.
sports? So getting into podcasting. I said, I'm not working in the corporate world this much longer. I've been successful, I've done things, was able to buy a house, have a nice, benefit package. I'm cool. But I didn't love it. And my kids watching me like, hmm, hmm, hmm. Like, I knew it was more to give. I had Spalding and Wilson. It lit me up. I didn't have nothing that lit me up outside of my family, but I needed something that they can look outside looking in, if that makes sense. They already knew, oh, my sisters, my family. Like, hey, but what is something activity wise that my dad does that I'm like, that's my dad?
Mm.
It was basketball then. And my first podcast was Why Not Sports, where I talk about the good, bad, and the ugly of sports and how it impacts your everyday life. So I have it, trademarked, the logo, all that good stuff, and had people, continue to support and, won some awards and just being recognized consistently. So now they walk around with the Why Not Sports, or they say, hey, Dad, I just seen Mike Evans. He was on your show, or well, whoever, you know what I'm saying? Um, just knowing that I was able to do something that I was passionate about, and I love it for no money at all. I love it. Just like the game of basketball. And God has still found a way for me to still juggle family life, having a career, and the brand. So I don't have too many complaints. It does get challenging at times. Keep grinding, young man. And that's what I'm doing. So just to continue what we was just talking about. But yeah, it just a lot to be thankful for though. And just yeah, if you still here to see another day, make the best of it for sure.
So, looking forward, what are your plans in 2022? I know you're on the road, 500 episodes.
Yes.
You're not
Yep.
looking to be in corporate America for the rest of your life,
Nope.
especially like enjoying your family as your family continues to grow. What are you looking forward to accomplishing or doing or experiencing in 2022?
Just making it a step closer to become a full-time entrepreneur. That's my ultimate goal, where I can have that freedom financially, schedule wise. I have a family that's growing. The things that I have to do to job or career. Again, I'm not knocking it. It's just, after a while, it's like the same old thing. They go to work, they go home. Me, I go to work, go home, and then I need to go send this response back to Leah. I need to push the record button and knock out this content. So it's a difference. But
Yeah.
getting me a step closer to becoming a full-time entrepreneur, locking down some key personnel, as far as a business entertainment lawyer, um, an agency. So some little things that's been in the works, to where once I pull the plug from corporate America, so to speak, I'll
Hmm.
have my ducks in a row to make some things happen.
I like it because a lot of us get stuck in, well, it's a job, this career, it's a steady paycheck, but like you said, that's not your community, that's not your village, that's not your people. You're pouring all this energy into something that you're not able to take a stake in or progressing toward much, except that other promotion when they decide. So I do like that. I like the renaissance of entrepreneurship that I'm seeing in our community, because for so long it's just been, I gotta go to work today and I don't want to do it. But seeing people just be creative, regardless of what, like whether they're making shirts, hats, braiding hair, or teaching people how to talk, whatever it is just so dope to see so many of us who are stepping up now and owning that space and being who we are. Like talking sports, I would have never thought that a sports podcast would pique my interest, because I don't pay attention to sports. But being able to listen to your show, and I think there's only two other shows that are like it, but I think yours is the only one that I listen to on a consistent basis. Um,
What's that?
but listening to a sports show and being able to take pieces of it and say, oh, well, yeah, this is applied. Oh my gosh, I really like the way he said that, or this, or these clips here and there. Um, it takes growth and maturity for a person to realize there's more in me that I'm willing to put forth effort to pull out.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes we kind of get stuck and just like, no, this will do.
Mhm. You reap what you sow.
True.
When it's said
Very
and
true.
done, Leah, when it's said and done, Murph gave everything he had from 2016, when he didn't know what he was doing. He went to Google University and mastered at YouTube University. He didn't know how to speak. He didn't have no one teach him how to speak
Yeah.
or how to interview. Or I just I knew I was a natural with interacting with people, being in senior level management. Obviously, I know how to talk. I know how to, entertain the crowd or the people, so to speak. But at the same time, I knew it was more than just their jargon. Now I get to talk about my jargon, my brand, and help bring people along the way that, I can support, or that are interested in collaborating to get, to that next level. So it's a beautiful thing. And, just love my grandmother, love my father, mom, the supporters in the podcast community like yourself, just giving a brother from Gary, Indiana, a chance to live out his dreams and connect with dope people who still to this day, they're like, Murph, how did you get that exclusive? Or how did you get invited to that event? You still work for a living? No. How? I already told you from the beginning. He working some things out there I still can't even imagine. So
Listen,
I know that's what
yes.
I prayed for. He like, no, I got something bigger and better. Just keep grinding, man. Keep the faith, young man. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation. This is your time to plug any and everything that you have going on, your podcast, any merch, any upcoming things, any talks that you have. Just plug any and everything you have going on. Now's your time to shine.
Now, Leah, now you talking to somebody that talks a lot to give them the floor. How much time do I have? Like we're doing the acceptance speech, they only give you a few minutes, and then once you go past that, they start playing music to like Murph. Hey, shut up. We got another segment to worry about. But no, I'll be respectful of every time. Just thank y'all for rocking with me. If you like what you've heard, like I said earlier, the Flagrant 2 with DMurph is out wherever you listen to your podcast. Where we had, your dope host, Leah, Know Your Value, November of 2020, Know Your Value with Leah. If not, just Google that. It'll pull up. Why Not Sports, being a former athlete. Shout out to Wilson Spalding and those great family members who took the time to take me out to that park or that court when they didn't have to, so I can put up some shots and wear myself out. So mom, when she got home and was ready to go to sleep, it was easy for me to go to sleep. And you can check out my website, www.dmurphspeaks.com. Leave a note. Just kind of see what I've been up to. Instagram for me and my personal pages, it's DMurph, ITSDMURPH. And the individual pages for the podcast is Why Not Sports _ and Flagrant 2 Pod _ All I can say for those that are listening, life gonna continue to throw you punches. I mean, that's what life's about. Again, to the OGs, keep living. It gets greater later, though, I promise. But the decisions you make today will affect you later on. Be careful. Choose wisely. The people you surround yourself with, your thought process. And I want to end it on that, your mindset. One of the biggest things that I'm doing more in 2022 because of the news and what's going on around us. I grew up in the Midwest. They were saying now Houston and took the lead for the most homicides. So it's like I left one area, Gary/Chicago, to raise my family in quote unquote a better environment. And now they're number one, the number one city in America when it comes to homicide. So mindset, daily affirmations. I post things throughout my room, my car, my desk or kiosk. Just continue to give myself those scriptures or something, that vision of that vacation that I always wanted to go to, just something to keep me motivated, keep me excited about. So when things do come, life comes our way, we're not going to, back down and grab it by the horns and keep it trucking. Keep on pushing, keep grinding, and keeping the faith for sure.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Y'all make sure y'all go check out DMurph. Click on everything in the website. Make sure you know all of what's going on. Make sure to follow him at all his pages. And if you haven't checked out the Know Your Value episode, it is in the show notes. So make sure that you take a listen to that episode. I had a really, really good time. And then subscribe to his podcast because you don't want to miss this content, obviously. And when you're done doing all of that, make sure that you follow Take a Space Pod, the Take a Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. We are shooting for 1,000 this year. We are at 130-ish, somewhere in there. So we're really hoping to go ahead and hit 1,000 this year and really love your support to be able to hit those numbers. But thank you so much to our guests. Thank you, DMurph. Appreciate you. Thank you to our listeners. And we will see you next time.